Hi, good morning. Hope you all had a good day and welcome to the AEC collection webinar, BIM Collaborate Pro. All right, so the topic of today is to talk about the construction cloud and in particular BIM Collaborate Pro as part of that whole ecosystem. All right, so the agenda, we're just going to introduce the software and the solution, and then we're going to talk about just what specifically is construction cloud, and we'll look at some of the products within that and the solutions, and then also their features and benefits. Right, and then we'll look at a little demo, just showing a brief overview of the modules and the solution, and then we'll conclude with some questions and so. All right, so the construction cloud we'll look at, and then the idea behind it is it facilitates a common data environment where all the stakeholders can work from the design phase right through to handover and operation of the particular project or building. All right, so that's the idea behind this particular construction cloud. Now it's come a long way. So the construction cloud, initiated, started with simple just upload content to a cloud-based drive, which you can share, and it evolved into more the A360 products, and they were all individual elements, products and solutions, but then it then evolved again into a BIM 360 platform, which offered some sort of collaboration or common data environment, but more for the design part of the industry. So with the recent acquisitions of that Autodesk made, particularly the plan grid and the more construction assemble construction software, they have incorporated those purchases or acquisitions that they've made in a new platform called the Construction Cloud. So now it kind of caters for from design right through to the build and operate phases of a project. Right, so it's grown and it's still growing. Each month new features get added, and currently it runs in tandem. The Construction Cloud platform runs in tandem with the A360, or excuse me, the BIM 360 platform. So still older projects run on the older platform, but the newer Construction Cloud, obviously platform and products, new projects run on that. Right, now obviously it brings together all the stakeholders into a common data environment, and with that it's got obviously inherent benefits, whereby if someone else does a certain change, you would obviously pick it up and get notified, and that's just a basic idea, but there's so many other little features and functions that make this whole common data environment viable in the construction industry. Right, so okay, so just talking about a little bit of the BIM Collaborate Pro. That is a particular software that enables, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well, it enables the collaboration of the CAD software and like Revit, Civil 3D and Plant, and whereby you in the Revit's terms, you work with work sets, and you author those 3D model concurrently, and obviously share that to the non-Revit users particularly. Right, but so if you look at the little picture there at the bottom, there's the Revit Civil 3D. These are the designers or the authors. They call it the BIM authors, and they contribute to the model. They add information to the model, and there's also, and they would use BIM Collaborate Pro. Then there's other stakeholders that might be, constructor in the construction industry, or just project managers, or quantity surveyors. They'll use other modules, not the BIM Collaborate Pro, for non-CAD users. So they'll use just maybe just BIM Collaborate, just to look at the project, add issues, snag lists, etc., and more analysis, and also just docs. That's the basic one. We'll talk about that as well. That's just basically upload and download, a little bit of comparisons in that. Right, and it's obviously also caters for the mobile industry. So on site, wherever, you'll get notified, and you can approve or reject certain changes. Right, but that will come later. Right, so just briefly looking at the comparing the various solutions of obviously the new construction cloud, and the BIM or the Autodesk Docs. That is the common platform. In the olden days, it was BIM 360 Docs, so that's just changed its name, obviously, to resemble the new change of the generation, the AEC or construction cloud generation. Right, that forms the common data environment, the Autodesk Docs, whereby you upload or publish your models, or files, etc. As you can see in that little picture at the bottom, there's three lines, horizontal lines from left to right, and the top one is the Autodesk Docs. So that's the platform on which the software or features run. All right, and that's also this particular product, Autodesk Docs, is also included in the AEC collection. It's just recently added, so which means that you all have access to this cloud-based system in a simple form. Obviously, you can't do all the functions and functionality because of the required products that you need, but it's a stepping stone to get into this whole scenario. Right, so Autodesk Docs is included in the AEC collection. There are documents to switch it on and that sort of thing, but you do have the ability to work in the cloud already, even if you just upload files and share it to stakeholders to download or to view. Right, then obviously you've got the BIM Collaborate and BIM Collaborate Pro. The difference between those is, as I mentioned earlier, the Pro version has got all the features, and it's for the BIM authoring guys. So if you've got two Revit users in the office, they would require the Pro version, and a project manager that might not work on Revit, you'd just perhaps use the BIM Collaborate, right? Without the facility to link or use Revit. Obviously, the project manager might not have Revit installed even on his PC, so you save a little bit of money there, and it's got all the features except the kind of work sets or co-authoring information. All right, so if you look at the picture there at the bottom, these are the phases of the project. On the left, design, plan, build, and operate. And the AEC collection, as I mentioned, and the Collaborate and Pro focuses on the design iterations between the different industries, architecture, structure, and MEP, and how that works, even civil, how that works, and the version management, and the iterations that gets uploaded. Right, then there's a planning phase. We also have takeoff. That's a new product, as well as build, but takeoff is more for the QSs, where they have the same source of truth, the latest version, and they can use that to automate their bill of materials, right? Which is key. If a change happens, the result just updates. They don't have to re-measure. Right. So so that is based on obviously the 3D model. The takeoff is also based on 2D, linear count objects and areas, and they can create formulas based on the totals of those, length, numbers and areas, create formulas and get a result. So if those lengths, counts or areas change, the results update. So it's just adding formulas, etc., etc. But that's a whole different discussion. Okay, so in the plan phase there's also a building connected and assemble. That's the software or the purchases Autodesk made in the past that is now starting to get built into a product on the Autodesk side called Autodesk Build. Right, that's the last one in the list there at the top, Autodesk Build. That's more for the construction companies, and as you can see there on these phases here. All right, so the construction companies, they would just purchase that module, and they'll have access to all the design and the planning information, and they will take that to site, plan their construction of this project, add snags and issues, and to subcontractors, add them in this whole ecosystem, so that there's end dates to fix X, Y, Z, and the subcontractors need to fix it by that date and time, and everybody has got clear and a vision of this whole timeline of this project. All right, so it just makes sense. There's no, oh, I didn't receive that email, or the email gets blocked, or whatever. So it's all on a common data environment, and it just makes sense in this whole kind of construction industry. Even though, working from home these days, you don't have to courier drawings, drop drawings off, go pick up stuff, just upload, and it's available to everyone. Right, obviously there's certain hurdles that the construction guys need to overcome, and specifically in South Africa with regards to the technology, etc. But the technology is there. It's just a step that they need to take to embrace that. And in the past there might not have been as connected ecosystem, but now there is, and the stepping stone is there. So if you're an architect or whatever, and you want to take this further, talk to your constructor companies, and tell them about this sort of scenario, and they can approach us or whatever, and we can do a little demo and show how it can improve their productivity. All right. Okay, so that's just a little bit of the industry and the common data environment, Autodesk side, the new products. There's obviously a lot to be said as well. Okay, looking at specifically the BIM Collaborate Pro, I'm just highlighting 2 or 3 features. There's obviously many more. I'll also open up just my email area where new features have come into play. What's nice about this cloud-based system is if a new feature gets added or released into this software or cloud-based system, it just gets added, and once it gets added in the cloud, you don't have to go and install anything or update anything. It's there. It's in that cloud-based program, and it just kind of, you can use it, so that that assists in overheads with IT, needing to install updates and so that's great. Okay, so in the last couple of years or months, hundreds of updates have actually been added to these particular softwares. Obviously it's a continuous process with the purchases of Autodesk that they purchase, that assemble and plan grid and whatever. So those features get dumped into the software continuously. All right, so the main features is just design, review, and coordinate. That's basically looking at the model that's there already from Revit or whichever software, and then looking at clash detection and that sort of thing. Now, if I look at this, the BIM Collaborate, it can also do that. So most of these features, or basically the top 2, can be done with BIM Collaborate, and then obviously the bottom one is exclusively for the Pro version. Right, so design and review, you can coordinate basically the clash detection. So meaning that if there's other stakeholders, structural and MEP engineers, and everybody upload their models, you can very quickly and easily see where clashes might happen, and obviously it highlights those. You can mark it, and you can send it off to the particular consultant, and they would then update their model. You'll get notified, and you'll do the clash detection again and solve the problem before it gets built on site. All right, then, and that's automated. So you just say Revit Project 1 version 1. Let's compare that to version 2, or mechanical pipes version 1, and those two models that's been uploaded, it compares automatically and it highlights the project clashes. Right, then on the right image, or the second, there's a cloud-based document management, analytics, and that sort of thing. So on the left picture is basically the clashes. On the right, there is a image of changes that have been made, meaning if you've it's kind of version management, and say the mechanical engineer has added, or in this case the structural engineer has added beams and columns and bracing, and on version 1 of his file, and you, the architect, he uploads a new file and saying that he's added or changed some sort of frame on the one side of the building. If you want to go and investigate what changes he has made, you can very quickly just compare his version 1 to version 2, and it'll color code the changes that he's made, meaning all the red objects is removed, all the green objects is new, and all the yellow objects is modified. So very quickly you can see what changes have been made. And in the past, people have done this manually, and it took hours. In the MEP industry, people have changed ducts and pipes, and there's lots of fittings in if you think of a plant, and between version 1 version 2, consultants needs to know what has changed, and it could take a whole day just to figure out what changes has been made, instead of doing something like this. So it's a great time saver, just if you've got the data already uploaded, etc., and using these features. Right, then the bottom line there, or the bottom, or the third little bullet, there's a timeline, and what that enables is very clearly, we'll see that in the demo as well, that I'll open up the project. You'll very clearly see who has done what, and if there's different companies or industries involved in this project, you can very quickly see on day 1 or day 10 or day 13 who has done what, and that particular upload, as I can say, you can actually view before you actually consume it. And there's different terms that Autodesk use in this little timeliner, but you basically publish your data set, or a data drop as they call it, and the other stakeholders can view it before consuming it. Once they consume it, it becomes part of their shared area, and they can link those files into their models, and use it as a linked file, all right, to create the components. If I think of a MEP engineer, and an architect has published his set, the MEP engineer will then consume that data or model and link it into his clean file, and then he will see the architectural model, and he will just add his ducts, pipes, etc., and then unlink it or whatever, and he will then upload his pipes as a published version 1, and so the architect will then see that in this timeline and consume it, and check clashes, etc., and so the discussion begins. All right. Okay, so that's basically the main features. The main benefits are, it's a common data environment. Everybody sees what's happening when, based on that timeline, and then also the automated things like the clashes and and the analytics involved in change management, what has changed between version 1 and version 2. All right, so that's just a little bit of theory and talking about it. So let's look at a little bit of a demo. I'll just kind of put the little workflow in, but it's not right. So opening up Revit. Okay, let's first just open up the construction cloud. Right, so this is just a website. So if you haven't been involved with the cloud or anything, you would just simply go type in somewhere BIM 360. It just still kind of works. There are obviously other URLs or whatever. So if you just go BIM 360, and it'll kind of search for something, or you just say BIM 360, and you'll go to the first one or one of these, and you'll then get to a particular website. And this website is common, so here you can log in, or if you need to just test it out, there are you can look at solutions, pick one and just test it out. But I'm just going to log in, and I'll close the previous one there. Right, so I'll sign in BIM 360. As you can see, eventually when the kind of transition is done between the 360 and the construction cloud, they'll kind of change the names, etc. I think. Right, so I'm basically just signing in, and obviously I'm a administrator of our little area, so I'll just firstly just go to the home page. So there's obviously admin, where we can set up users and projects and stuff. I actually should just go there, but it's right. Once I've given an overview of kind of how you start and that, I'll go over to Revit and then kind of open a file. I also want to talk about another little app that is key to this whole ecosystem. But so while that loads, let's talk about that. In this ecosystem, you also get a desktop connector. Now, the desktop connector, think of that as a little app that syncs whatever happens in the cloud to your PC. There's many other vendors that does that. Google, Dropbox, OneDrive. They've all got these sort of little apps that just syncs the cloud with your local drive. What that then enables is when you go to your the particular folder, you can just add or copy files, PDFs or whatever in there, and it then is available. Obviously it syncs or uploads to the cloud, and it's available in that common data environment to everyone else in the world that has access, obviously. All right, if I go back, so that's a thing to just remember, is to install that as well. If I just take that further, if you look at this is my PC, you'll see this. There's the PC, obviously the OneDrives and the other things. But if I go look at the PC, you'll see there is a Autodesk Docs and a BIM 360. So this connector allows me to still go to the older generation information. You'll see a little B there. The newer construction cloud's got a little round little earth. Now these are the hubs or the cloud areas that I have access to, and different companies and that. So I'll go to the cloud. There's some projects. The COVID challenge, I can go in there, project files. So I'll basically browse like I browse normally in a C drive or D drive, and you'll see there's the different Revit files or PDFs or whatever, and I can just drag something in there and it'll be available for other people to use in this kind of environment. All right. Okay, so that's one way to look at linking with other people. It's just through that desktop app. It's not critical. or it is sometimes critical because it will just speed up any kind of working environment because you've got the file locally instead of just downloading and uploading all the time. Right, so I've logged into the Construction Cloud, and you'll see there Construction Cloud, and on the left there is all the modules that I've purchased. Now that's also something that we can talk about, is when you purchase these modules, be it the Autodesk Docs or Collaborate or whatever, it adds it to the your software Autodesk account, and you need to assign it to a particular user, and that user then has when they log in, they have the particular modules available to use. So it's works like AutoCAD or Revit or any other Autodesk software. You assign it to that guy's email address, and once it's assigned, you'll have access to that particular module. Right. Obviously, I've got all the build and the takeoff and everything. So if you just kind of stand back and start or look at how you would start, you would go to the account admin. So that's basically just the first user or the BIM manager or the account admin. They will just get in here, make sure they can create projects. So your test projects, you'll see here at the bottom there's some test projects that we've created, and you can set up your company people. Right, now there's different other companies, the guys that's just testing the system, but you basically can add different members. Again, there's lots of other things that you can also do here, but that's the basics. You go into this particular area, add your company guys, and the different members. Obviously, these members would have certain rights, etc. So if I go to to my area, my guy, if I click on that person, you will see that I've got certain access level roles, and that sort of thing. All right, so and you can tell people not to just have a viewing role and that sort of thing, but we'll get there just now. So it's assigning rights very quickly. Then if I go to the particular project, you'll see here's project. So if you create a project, you basically would name it, tell it what the project is. Now if I just click on a project here, and this is the sort of things that you would look at this particular project. What's its name, what's the project value, what's the time zone, the start date of that project, end date of that project, and there's different things that you can when the project or where is the project situated, and various other things. Okay, so that's just setting up a project, and what you then would do if you go to the project admin. Basically we're there, but if you go to the project admin, you can add members to this project, and that would be from the list that you set up earlier, or you can just manually add the guys in here. These people will then have companies that they belong to, and different roles that those guys have. Right, so if you've got an internal multidisciplinary departments, you can add guys from different departments in here and give them different roles. Obviously, this will just be your the guys that you invite to this project. All right. Then if I go to the actual docs, so this is the project here. I can obviously switch between other projects as well, but I'll go to the docs module, right? So that's the basic module, and here I can just see what files have been uploaded, the directories that's been created. Now this is similar to the directories that we saw in that desktop connector. You can also add in the desktop connector. You can also add directories in here, and it will just update on the other side. So that can also be done in an environment that are familiar, right? Or you just do it online, right? And obviously here you can add the different folders, and each folder can have a different set of rules. So there's the settings within what it shows. You can upload files to this particular folder now, and there's the permissions that you can set. So each folder can have a specific set of permissions from the users that you created earlier, and they can either manage or just view, or view only, or download, etc. Okay, so each folder you can kind of create specific rights to. All right, 100%. Okay, so this is just looking at the project, and what you can also do if you do, click on something here, it actually opens up a viewer, and you can have a look at that model just as a non-Revit user, or just someone that's invited, just with viewing rights only. You that maybe has an AEC collection, that's got Autodesk Docs as a product. They can actually just look at the project. Obviously, they don't have Revit, so they can't open a Revit file. So you'll just give them access to the project, and they can have a look at things. They can actually click on something, look at the properties of that. So as they click on a wall, there's all the properties of that particular element. There's obviously different things. They can obviously orbit, pan. There's measure. You can measure, say, from so a point over here to a point over there. Like so, and it'll give you this is now international imperial measurements. And then you can set it up there. I'm pretty sure you can just change this to something different. But then there's also sections that you can push and pull, and cut through the model, seeing what's happening on the inside, and looking at understanding the project that you are invited to before building it, or giving input. All right, so it's like a cool viewer of this particular model. All right, so it is a Revit file there. Obviously, there's different other file types that you can view. This is a PDF, so let's see if I click on the PDF, it'll just kind of view that as a 2D PDF. Obviously, I can zoom in, check what's happening where. I can do the same at the bottom here, etc. Okay, so there's your measuring tools on the left. Okay, so this is also where the guy who has the QS will get involved. If these things have been uploaded to the, they'll start measuring from here, either the 3Ds or the 2Ds. Okay, they don't need to know Revit or anything. They just get the files here. They know their Autodesk takeoff product, and they produce costumes. Okay, so this is the docs area. You can upload files in that. Right, then there's also model coordination that I just want to touch on. This model coordination, this is where you do the little automated things, where you've got different models from different people. You can look at the particular clashes from the two models that are uploaded now here. There's the two Navisworks files now in this case, and there's various clashes between those two. Obviously, you can click on that particular model. That's an architectural model and a mechanical model, and it'll because it's quite a large file, it might take a while. Right, and there's 800 clashes now between these two models, and you'll see different color on the left here. You can also, there's the primary model and the clash of that. You can give tolerances, so if it's within 500 mils or whatever, but you can particular click on something on the left here. I've just clicked on something, and very quickly it'll show you what it is. Now from here, if you've got the building or construction model, you can create an issue, and well, I'm not too sure where this comes in, but you can create an issue. You got that particular module purchased, and it will then enable, you can send it to someone that needs to fix this. All right. Okay, so there's lots of other things that you can do here, but this is quite automated. You basically just, the models that are there, you just, enable, say that you want the clashes between that and that, and then there's all the models here. You can exclude or include different models. Right, and there's also ports. No, that's not actually what I want. Okay, so okay, so it's a little bit of model coordination, but the design collaboration. All right, so this is where Revit and the CAD guys get involved, and you will. There's different things now. Obviously, there's a set now uploaded from Revit. We'll talk about how that's done. I'll open Revit just now, and here's the timeliner. If you just click the little timeline opening up, it will just give you a very quick timeline with me as an architect and what's been shared. But if you click it again, you'll see all the stakeholders, and then the timeline. All right, so in May this happened, and so it happened, and in September that happened. So this is the uploads, or the information that the architect has uploaded, and that's the information or the timeline of the different guys. Now, obviously, you can zoom in here. If you zoom into that May month, you'll see the little number 2 is actually 2 little dots that's just very close together. So if I zoom in, you'll see the dates, days. So it's basically per day. If you zoom out, it's per week, and then per month. And so you can go on. All right, so it's just zooming in and out. There's also little sliders that you can check. Right, these dots, they are when this particular person has uploaded some things. Now, or architect in this case. So this is just where you can explore what they have uploaded. So it's just basically a viewer. See what they've uploaded. You can on the left hand see what's happened, and can test and check, and then once you am happy with that, you can consume that, and that will then repackage it and into your a usable format that you can link it to your model and carry on. Obviously, if I just go to one of the other, because I'm an architect, so I can't consume my own objects. So if I go to the mechanical guys, if I just expand that once again, so there's the mechanical guys. I click on their upload. You'll see this is what they have. Let me just back to team view. All right, there's the information, and yeah, so I can team update to latest. Anyway, so you can then consume it. I'm not too sure if I go to team view, it's probably already consumed because that's the latest model. Yeah, anyway, so you can use that in your environment, and that's it. Right, so if I go to this latest area here, this is now my model, and if I go here on the left, you'll see the change visualization. So here we can see what's changed between that version and the previous version. Obviously, there's lots of things modified, and then yellow removed if I deleted it between that dot and that dot, so in June or in September, and what's been added. All right, so obviously there's not much work done there, but it will then show up a lot of these different things that's changed or whatever, and it's just one click. Now, just looking at It does certain background operation. Obviously, it takes 5 or 10 minutes to generate this and the information. Now, obviously, you don't have to. You can add watched objects, so it's not all the objects that that you include in this kind of area. I think it's over here. Watch changes. So here's all. So instead of having all, you're watching all the components between the different files. You can just say, I want to just check the room sizes between version 1 and version 2 and see what's changed, or just the walls or just the ducts or whatever. All right, but you can set up those sort of visualizations. All right, so this is kind of cloud-based. If I look at Revit, okay, so I'm just moving to Revit quickly. Right, so I'm in Revit, stock standard Revit. You'll see there's a little bit of a, if you see a file that's got a little cloud there next to it, you know that it's downloaded from a cloud-based hub. Now, to access any of these clouds, now I'll rather not, open it. I'll just use this area here on the left. You'll see there's a BIM 360, which allows you to access that cloud area, or the recent files we access your files that you normally work with on your PC. Right, so if I go to cloud, BIM 360, now obviously I have the modules and I'm logged into Revit. So you'll see there on the top, I'm logged in. So Autodesk knows I've got access to this cloud area. So as you click there in the bottom, it will kind of go to open up something that you've worked with in the past, one of these projects, and obviously you can switch between them. If I go to test project, there might not be anything in there, but if I go to the Kobe challenge that we looked at earlier, there's the folders, and I'll go to one or two of these folders, and there's the architectural folder. So these folders you would set up either in the desktop connector or in the cloud. And then there's a little file. It's workset based. So it means that it's segmented into different parts. And I, as an architect, maybe I've got colleagues that work on this as well. I might have a workset that's just set to external walls. My colleague would have internal walls, and the other guy will have maybe roof. And we'll work in tandem in the same model, co-authoring everything. And then as he changes something, he uploads, I'll get his changes and so on. So the worksets environment work very similar to a local workset in a local area network or your kind of company, but you would perhaps just sit at home doing the same thing. Right, so the worksets, if I look at that, now I don't think there's many worksets here. They kind of just have, there's a different way of working with worksets as well. There is works. As I mentioned earlier, maybe you segment the model into internal, external, and roof, or you can just leave it like this and then talk to your colleagues and say, okay, I'm working on this project now, you don't have to work on any. And so you kind of arrange times, because you don't want to work on the same thing at the same time. You want to work on the internal walls and the other guy work on the internal walls, and you segment it that way. All right, and that can be done with worksets, but that's another discussion. All right, so if you now make changes, you'll see if you click on something, you make the element editable, so you borrow that element because it's not assigned to you. And then once you've done that, you can move it about and you work like normal. Once you work like normal, or once you've done, you go to the Collaborate and you'll synchronize like this with Central like normal. Right, what it'll do, it'll just upload the model to the cloud, and if I do that, there's no changes, so it might not. Right, so it just kind of saves it locally, uploads it to a central file that's in the cloud. It'll have a different version there, and that. Right, now, and so you work concurrently, maybe in the same office. You reload latest if someone else changed something. If I click reload latest, it'll just look at the cloud and update the Revit, your Revit model, and so you go on. All right, so once you've now reached a certain point, let's just look at the time. Once you've reached a certain point, you will then, this is you'll then publish, it's already kind of published, but you will then publish the model to the other stakeholders. If I look at this area here. All right, okay, so you'll then, right, so if I look at the changes, the project status, there we go. Right, so basically, if this morning I just kind of uploaded the model again, and it'll create a little area over there. So basically just uploads the whole my model and creates a package for other people to consume, or other stakeholders to consume. So that will then help them that the latest has been uploaded and they can use it. Right, just on my side, in the Revit side, right, so if you do make changes, obviously you can synchronize to central, and that will then upload those information. There was a there's something else that I'm all right, so yeah, so you can just synchronize to central if you make any changes, and it uploads it. The publish settings, all right, so this is these are the views that get published then to a set one to the cloud, and you can, not too sure now. Right, but okay, so then that uploads the information and creates the different version in the cloud. Over here, that's the one that I uploaded this morning. Okay, so once it's uploaded, the other people will see it, they can work with it, and that will then allow the non-Revit users to see the uploaded model. All right, if I look at the docs area and I go to the collaboration, okay, so that was then the time there. Let's look at the file properties. Yeah, so that was uploaded this morning. Right, so that will then be able, the non-Revit users will be able to see that file, have a look at it, check it out, see what's happened. And you can also set up communication so that if someone uploads something, the other stakeholders get notified so that they can check it and comment and that sort of thing. All right, so they set one that I've uploaded. All right. All right, so that's basically the timeliner. So if I upload something, I'll get other people to there's a new create new package. I do that. That's what I was looking for. That then is the information. So if I upload it, it's not particularly shared, but if I do create a package, that then creates a so I'll add set one, and let's say save. Saving package, that's it. I'll share that. It's now version 10th September or whatever. So bottom there. So once I share it, it then shares it to the non-Revit users. All right, so if I zoom in there, still busy. So open it up. No. That's it. All right, so there's the published on the 10th, and there's the shared. Right, so sorry, that's the latest version, but then that's then shared, that particular latest version perhaps. Anyway, so you can do that sort of thing. Right, so if it's shared, it's then available for the other users. If it's just published, it's just available for the Revit authoring guys between these companies, the pro guys. If it's shared, then the non-pro guys can then see it and could look at the particular content. All right. Okay, so that's basically the idea behind the construction cloud. It basically links everything on the cloud. You can obviously upload your Revit models to this, and in a certain structure, these structures you can add people to, give them rights so that they don't, interfere with things. There's obviously reports and there's a myriad of other insights and things that you can get from this, the data that's there. All right, and basically you would work from Revit and upload all these the models using the normal workset environment. Yeah, and then create the information for everyone to share. All right, that's just insights. Right, the insights is like a dashboard where you can see if there's any issues being created with regards to clashes that you need to be involved in, who uploaded what, request for information. So it's kind of like a dashboard that you can see if there's multiple stakeholders, what you need to do for that day. All right, so that is included in the rest. All right, and there's obviously a costing model and module that's coming still. I think it's just very, very recent. Okay, just looking finally at just the construction cloud here. This, every week or so, there's a new newsletter, and they talk about new things that's been added, and that'll allow you to learn more as new things get added. But just look at this recently on Monday. They've talked about the different cloud-based. I'll just open that. The mobile devices have now been kind of incorporated, and so it's a new feature, I guess. And then also there's now improved cost management that's come in. Your budgeting with regards to a specific module that you can also work with. Cost control, maybe certain subcontractors only has a certain budget, etc., and you can create orders, and so it's kind of becoming a more of a construction management scenario. But it's the cost management module. So if I look at my all these modules, obviously Docs is just a platform, Collaborate is the co-authoring, there's the automated information, and then the takeoff, build, and then there's a cost module. All right, so they keep on improving all this, and obviously you don't have to buy everything. You buy it as you need it, or in your industry. If you're a construction professional, you'll probably look at build or maybe takeoff as well, and then perhaps cost at a later stage. Yeah. All right, so basically that's what we've got time for. So, looking at this as an overview, the idea is this common data environment has one source of truth. Everybody works off that one piece of data, and it just makes sense. There's no worries that you're working on older information, and obviously, the automated things like the clashing and the version comparison saves you, hours of time, right? And basically the whole idea is to complete your project faster, being more productive, even working at home, that sort of thing. With your mobile devices going on site, if you subcontractor or whichever, sorting out all the clashes and reporting back in this whole scenario. Right, and it just improves the whole communication, and in so doing, you complete your project faster. Right, so thank you for attending. If you have any questions, you're welcome to send me an email. There's all the our kind of offices. If you've got more need more detailed information, welcome to email us or contact us, and we can take it offline, these questions, yeah, let's use the software and the solution to create a more productive built environment. Okay, so thank you for attending, and we'll see you on the next one.